Okay, so in this video we're going to try to use turtle graphics to make something a little bit more advanced. We're going to draw a picture of a house. Okay, so I have the Atom text editor open on my desktop, and I'm going to make a new file, and I'm going to call this house.py. Alright, there's two things we do at the beginning of every turtle graphics program. We import turtle, and then turtle.done. Okay. I'm going to want a little pause before I start drawing, so I'm going to import time, and then time.sleep 1 second, and then we'll start our drawing. So we need to have our turtle, so I'm going to call my turtle done, and turtle is the module that I imported. And in that module there is a class called turtle with a capital T, and when I instantiate that class, that creates a turtle object, and I save it in my variable called Don. Right? I'm going to say Don.pin up to lift up his pin, and this time.sleep actually needs to be up here. So we create our turtle, we lift up the pin, and I'm going to introduce a couple new functions here. We can move the turtle. I can say don.setX, and that sets his X coordinate. Okay, so everything in turtle graphics is on a Cartesian plane, a coordinate system. So just like in math courses you may have had, there's a Cartesian plane where you have an X coordinate and a Y coordinate, and right in the middle is the origin, and that's 0, 0. So your X coordinate is 0 and your Y coordinate is 0. As you go to the right, your X coordinate increases. Okay, so let's go to the right 100 pixels. And then we'll set Don's Y coordinate, set Y to 100. Okay, and then we'll say Don.pin down. Okay, so all this is set up right now. We've created our turtle, we lift up the pin, and we set his X and Y coordinates to 100 and 100, and we're going to run this. Okay, so I'm going to open up my terminal, change directories to my desktop, run Python 3 house. So notice, normally the turtle starts here. We have moved him up 100 by 100. So let's look at what would happen if I would not have lifted up that pin. So I'm going to comment out the pin up and pin down. So he starts out by default with his pin down. So we run this. Okay. So I set the X coordinate, and he drew a line, and then I set the Y coordinate, and he drew a line because his pin was down that whole time. All right. So we want to lift up that pin and put it down. So this is going to be our starting point. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to draw a house. So we run this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a triangle top, and I'm going to make that an equilateral triangle. And then I'm going to make a square down here. All right. So I'm going to try to draw that out. So we have to keep in mind what position he's looking to start with. He's looking all the way to the right. So I need to change his orientation. So I can say Don.left. I want to turn him in the left direction, and I want to turn him 120 degrees, because that would leave 60 degrees here. So an equilateral triangle has interior angles of 60 degrees. Okay, so that's important for me to know. So I'm going to say Don.left turn 120 degrees, and then I'm going to say Don.forward 100. Actually, I want 200. Okay, so that will put me at the top of the roof. And I'm going to say Don.left 120 degrees, Don.forward 200. So this should draw the roof. So let's close this out and run it again. Okay, so that's the roof, and now we need to draw the rest of the house down at the bottom. All right, so we need to figure out the angle between the direction that he's currently pointing and straight down, right? So this was 120 and 120. Another 120 would be right here. So 120 minus 90 would give us straight down. So that should be 30 degrees. So Don dot left 30 degrees. Don dot forward 200. Let's see if we're right. And you can always check your math by just running the program again. So that drove straight down. So now we need to go left 90 and then go forward 200 pixels, left 90 and go forward 200 pixels, and we'll have created the basic part of the house. Alright, so on dot left 90, on dot forward 100, and we'll do that twice, so I'll copy and paste that. Now we run the program again. Oh, it's 200, right? So, as you see, every time you run the program, you can tell if you got it right. So that should be more like it. Okay, so we're gonna fill in this house. Let's make it a little red house. All right. So up here in the setup, I'm gonna say, this is actually where I'm drawing the house. So I'm gonna say draw house. And then up here is the program setup. So I'm going to add a comment there to tell me that that's the program setup. So this is where I'm drawing the house, and I might have some setup to draw the house, right? I might want to, for example, make the pen size 0, and I might want to add a fill color, right? So I can say Don.fill color. I want to make that red. And then Don.pen size. I might make that 0. So there is no outline. It'll just be the fill color. So to add the fill, Don.begin fill. And then down at the bottom, when I've finished my shape, Don.end fill. Alright, so let's try that. Close our canvas. Okay, so apparently it doesn't like pen size 0. So it's going to stay with 1. So that's fine. If we wanted to make it seem invisible, we could say Don.pen color red. Alright, so we'll do that. Okay. Alright, so let's just leave it black for now. All right. So our house is drawn and it's red, and we can make some eaves to the house. We can turn the angle here, and we're going to extend the eaves down, and we're going to make a little rectangle going up here to the top, and then back down, and a little rectangle there to attach there. So there's going to be a little bit of math here. So we're going straight up, and remember the angle between here and here was 30 degrees. So we're going to have to turn him 90 degrees plus another 30. Or I'm sorry, it's going to be 180 minus 30, so that should be 150. So we go. We're going to label this as drawing the eaves. We'll draw the top of the house. Draw a house top. All right, and we say Don dot right, because we're going to turn to the right this time, and we're going to go 150 degrees. We're going to say Don dot forward, and that's going to be, we'll say 50 pixels. Don dot left, 90 degrees, and we'll say you're going to go forward 20 pixels, and then Don dot left, 90 degrees again, and let's see where we're at. So we'll close this, run it again. Oops, I got a error. Left. There we go. Okay, so I've drawn a little bit of the top, and I need to come all the way back up here. Okay, so this length is going to be 200 pixels. This length was 50, so I need at least that. All right, and then I'm going to have to finish up at the top somehow. All right, so let's see what we've got. We want to go forward 200 pixels plus the 50, so that's at least 250. Okay, and so we could use some trigonometry to figure out the exact distance we would need to travel, but I'm just going to eyeball it. And what we can do is go up, try another 30 to start with. Oh, I subtracted 20 because it was 250, and there's 280. Run that. There we go, that's pretty close, maybe a little bit more, maybe another 5 pixels. And what we can do here, also, this is taking a little while to draw every time, so we can actually, in our program setup, we can speed up Don, we can make him faster, and we can say Don.speed 10. And the speeds can go from 1 to 10. 1 is slow and 10 is very fast. You can also say Don.speed 0, and he goes really, really fast, apparently. I'm not sure why they did it like that, but that's the case. So we save this, run it, and he should draw this faster now. There we go. That's a lot better. And so now we're almost at the top here. So this should be parallel, so this should be a 120 degree turn that we need to make, right? And then we'll go down the same length. So we'll say back down here, Don dot left 120 degrees, Don dot forward 285, and then we'll have Don dot left 90, Don dot left, or sorry, Don dot forward 20, Don dot left 90, Don dot forward 50. And that should finish off our eave. And it might be slightly off, so we'll have to take a look and see if we need to make a few adjustments. Alright, so we run it. Okay, not too bad though, right? That looks about right. So we can keep this white, and we can try to make a chimney. If we wanted to fill it in, the fill would start here, right? And if I were to end the fill, it would actually try to connect it there and fill that. So let's try that, and we'll do a different fill color just so we see. So we're going to say Don.fill color, and we'll just make this blue as an example. And we have to tell it to start the fill, Don.begin fill, Don.end fill. Alright, so we try that, close this, run it. Okay, now what we can do is if we draw the top of the house first and then draw this bottom portion of the house, that will be over this blue part, and so it will look right. So we can try that. So what we want to do is we're going to have to move the turtle, pin up this stuff we did at the very beginning. We're going to set the X to 100, 100 to start with. Right? And instead of drawing the house portion first, we're going to draw the top of the house. So we're going to copy all of this code and put it at the top. So we're going to draw the top of the house. Now then when we go to draw the house, we're going to have to move back to our starting point. So we're going to have to move the pin up and go back to 100, 100 where we started drawing our house before. So we'll move that speed section up there. And so this should really probably be part of drawing the house top, and this will be part of drawing the main part of the house. And so we just use a little copy and paste there. And save that, and we will run that and see what we have. See if we made any mistakes. Okay, so this was off a little bit because the original direction of our turtle was different. Okay, so we started out the direction of our turtle when we started drawing the top of the house. We told him to go left, right? And then we told him to go relative to that, right? So all of these relative angles are off now because we switched how we started drawing the program. Okay, so what's nice is there is documentation that allows you to set the orientation of your turtle. Okay, so we look up Python 3 turtle graphics documentation. And you want this one here, turtle graphics. Okay, and we want to look at all the different methods here. Here's all the different things that you can do with turtle graphics. What we're trying to find is a way to change the direction. Okay, so there's this towards method. You can point it towards a particular direction, right? You can set the measurement. Let's see what else we have. Filling, more drawing. So position and towards. Let's look. Oh, heading might be what we want. Let's look at heading. Return the current heading. Heading 67. Alright, so we want to set the heading, it looks like. Let's go back up and see if we can find set heading. Set heading, there we go. So set heading to angle. So 0 is east, which is where we start. Okay, so that's where we're going to want to start when we start drawing the house. Alright, so set heading is what we want. And this is where documentation comes in handy, because there are hundreds of different graphics programs. They all have different functions, and the way that you use these libraries is different. So it's very important to know where to find your documentation. All right, so that's nice and easy. Move this out of the way and fix our broken house. All right, so for the draw house portion, we need to set the X and Y at 100, 100, and then Don.set heading. We want that to be 0, so he'll be facing dead east, like he was when he first started. Now this should fix the red house portion, right? But it won't fix the blue. We'll have to do something else for the blue part. Okay, so that fixed the red house. So basically we need to flop this house over by 90 degrees, right? So before, when we started drawing the blue part, look at our turtle. He was facing straight up. So that is a heading of 90 degrees. So before we draw this blue portion, we just need to set the heading to 90 degrees. All right, so draw the house top, set X and Y, Don.set heading at 90 degrees. And now we should be back where we want to be. All right, there we've got a nice house. Now we might want to draw a chimney. So it's going to be hard to find the exact position that we would want to draw this. So what we probably want to do is draw the chimney first and make it bigger. And we'll just make a nice rectangle for the chimney. And then we'll draw the house on top of the chimney so it looks like the chimney is correctly located. All right, so let's do that. So we're going to need to pin up, set X, set Y, set the heading, and pin down, and then we're going to need a fill color and begin the fill for our chimney. So I'm just going to copy all that and we'll set it in as we need to. So this is where I draw the chimney. I'm going to paste what I had there. So 100, 100 would be about here. Let's say we want to go the X direction 75, and we want to go 100 is fine. And we're going to draw up 200. Or we could start here. We could start 100, 100. And then we would go up, let's see, go up 150 maybe. Let's try that. Alright, so we're going to start at 100, 100. We're going to set heading at 90, pin down, fill color. So to make a dark red color, instead of naming the color, you can use the hash to specify an RGB color. So the first two digits are hexadecimal digits that can range from the numeric value goes from 0 to 255, but it's hexadecimal digits. So the first two numbers are the amount of red, so we want a lot of a red, so that's FF. The next two characters are green, and so we don't want a whole lot of green, so maybe 33, and then blue, we don't want a whole lot of blue either, so maybe 44, and we'll see what kind of red we come up with here. Atom's kind of nice, it fills in the color for you when you use this hexadecimal color mode. So we want to bring that color down a little bit, so we're going to lower all of the values just a little bit. Okay, because we want kind of a dark red, like a brick red. Okay, so that's a little darker. We want to bring it on down. We'll try 88 there for the red. There we go. That's a nice brick red. So this is our color, our fill color. And we're going to begin the fill. And we're going to say Don.forward. And we start out going forward 150. Then Don.left 90. And maybe go forward 50, turn left, and go back down 150. Right, and then we can just end the fill, because this is going to be the other drawings anyway, so we don't need to really finish making the shape. So we can say Don dot fill color, or I'm sorry, Don dot end fill. All right. All right, look at that. We got a little house. Now, as it turns out, if you're making one of these on your own, you don't really need to do this part, make this eave. That makes it quite a bit harder, but it does look a little bit more like a house. All right, so we've got the red house. We might change these colors to make it look a little bit prettier. Now that we know how to modify the colors, we can go down here and instead of blue, let's try to get some sort of beige color. We'll do 9955. Well, I guess this would be beige is going to be light color, so we want a lot of high value channels. So for the red is going to be BB, green will be 88, and blue might be 99. We'll see what that gives us. Should be kind of a beigey color. Maybe a little more green. There we go. That's a nice beige. And then we'll copy this and we'll make the house color. We can make that the same if we wanted, and just see what that looks like. Okay, so there's a nice beige house. Alright, so all we really have left to do is we're going to make a door, and then we'll make 2 windows, just like that. And these are just rectangles, so all the hard parts, all the hard stuff's done. Alright, so we'll make some rectangles. Let's make windows. Draw the left window. And we need to position Don. So let's position them here. We'll say the window is right here, starting out. So this should be, if the center here is 0, 0, that's going to be negative 100 in the x direction and positive 100 in the y direction, right? And so we want to go over maybe 50 pixels. So this is going to be negative 75, positive 100, all right? And we'll set his initial heading east, and he'll draw this way. Okay, so let's do that. And as always, we can just kind of copy the setup from our previous examples, right? So we're going to need a fill color and a pin color. So we're going to move the x direction in negative 75. The y direction is 100 and the setting is 0. Put the pin down. The pin color is going to be black, and for the fill color we want to make this like a light blue. So this is the red, the amount of red, so there's not much red in a light blue color, so we're going to have to bring this on down to maybe 3. Green, there shouldn't be very much green either, so we're going to bring that down to maybe a 5, and then there should be a whole lot of blue to make it a light blue. Alright, so that's a little bit too dark, which means the only way to make it lighter, the blue channel is maxed out at FF, so the only way to make it lighter is to increase these. So I'm going to try 66 and 99. That's pretty good, maybe a little bit lighter. 77 and 8A. There we go. There's a nice light blue. That's going to be our fill color, and we're going to say Don dot begin fill, and then at the end we're going to have Don dot end fill. In between, and we just make a square. So this is going to be Don dot forward, and we'll say that we want this to be 75 pixel square. So he's going to go forward 4 times, but after going forward each time, you say Don dot, he's going to turn right 90 degrees. So duplicate that, move it down. So forward 75, right 90 degrees, forward 75, right 90 degrees. And this should be the left window. Okay, so that window is going to be a little bit big if we have another one right there. So we probably want to make it 50. Right, so we'll do we'll keep that at 75, and we'll just make the square 50 and see how that looks. There we go. And you might want to make, you know, a little crossing pattern on the window. That might look kind of cool. So we can go Don.forward, and we're going to go half the length of our square, which is 25. We'll say Don.right 90 degrees. Then we're going to say Don.forward the length of our square, which is 50, then Don.right 90. Now we're going to have to navigate. What we've just done is we've gone forward half the distance, we went down and drew a line, and now we're going to have to go forward, turn right, go forward half the distance, and draw a line that way, and that'll give us a nice cross pattern on our window. Alright, so forward 50, we turn to the right, Don.forward 25, turn to the right. So I copied those two lines and added them down here, so we go right 90, forward 25, I need to go Don.right 90, Don.forward 50. Okay, so take some time, look at that, pause it if you need to, and we will close this and run it. See where we're at. There, we made a nice window. Now we just need to copy that exact code, but our initial starting position, instead of being right here, is going to be right here. Then we make our little square. So if the center is 0, 0, we go up the x position. This was negative 75, we went over 50, so that was negative 25, so that would be 0. So the x position is going to be 25, and the y position is going to be 100. So all we have to do is copy all of this and paste it underneath, and just change our starting x position. Instead of negative 75, it's positive 25. Alright, and we close this. Alright, now we make a door. Okay, so we'll copy this setup. Let's make the fill color match the chimney. So I'll copy this string up here. We'll scroll on down until we get to our door. Paste that in here, and we need to change our starting position. Okay, so let's look at our picture. Starting position, this is 0, 0. So the y position is going to be negative 100 down here, and we'll say that this is maybe negative 25, negative 30. Let's do negative 30. So we'll go up 100, we'll go over 60, down 100, over, and then that'll be the door, and then we'll add a doorknob and we'll be done. Alright, so we have set x to -30, set y to -100, set the heading to 90, which is going to be pointing straight up, and we put the pin down, and we're going to say don.forward 100, don.right 90, don.forward 60, don.right 90, and we can just copy some of this. There we go, forward 100, right 90, and we don't even need to finish that. We can just call don.end fill. Right. So I close this. I can run it again. Okay. So end fill didn't work because we didn't begin fill. Alright, and we're going to put a little gold doorknob right here. So if this is 0, 0, we're going to come down about half the distance of the door, which is 100. So we'll come down 50. We'll go a little bit lower. We'll come down 60, and we'll come over. Let's see, what is this? 30. We'll come over 20. So 20, positive 20, negative 60 in the y direction. All right. So we'll copy all this stuff. The setup for the draw the doorknob. And we want to set the position not at, let's see, the x direction was 20. And the y direction was negative 60. So the x is positive 20, y is negative 60, and we're going to set the heading equal to 0. That's going to be directly to the right. And we're going to use a new function to draw a circle here. So this is going to be don.circle. And I have to tell Don the radius of my circle. I want the radius of my circle to be 5. I want my fill color to be yellow. So I've got a golden doorknob there. All right, and I'm going to make a circle of radius 5. And I want this filled in, so I have to say don.begin fill and don.end fill. So we'll save that. We'll run it. There you go. There's a nice house. Now if you wanted to, you could make smoke by making circles that are filled in with gray over this chimney, and make a whole bunch of those circles that are gray, and it would look like smoke coming out. So that could be one additional thing you could do. Or you could make a mat that comes out like this, right? And you could have a sidewalk coming out. You could make a background with green grass, blue up here, sun. Anyway, it's kind of fun, and you can see how 2D graphics kind of works using this Turtle graphics program. Okay, so that's enough for this demo.